York Congresswoman Grace Meng has announced that she reintroduced legislation in the House of Representatives to lower the voting age in America to 16 years old.
Her measure seeks to replace the 26th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution with a new amendment that would allow 16 and 17-year-olds the right to vote. Congresswoman Meng now joining us this morning. Good morning to you, Congresswoman. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So I love when we're able to throw some history into these interviews. When the 26th Amendment passed, you know this, in 1971, the slogan used by the youth voting rights movement was old enough to fight, old enough to vote. So why do you feel 16 and 17-year-olds should have the right to vote?
Exactly. So this is basically a case of no taxation without representation. These young people have been leading the charge on so many issues, so many life-changing and life-saving issues, whether it's about gun safety, climate legislation, healthcare. These are some of the issues where our young people have been leading the fight, and literally their lives are at risk. Their future is at risk, and I believe that they have a say. They should have a say in who they elect in this country.
Congresswoman, they have been involved in so many things, as you have just noted there. But at the same time, so have other young people. But that doesn't always translate into them showing up at the polls. When you bring the barrier down to 16 and 17, if you look across the country, there are many states where 16 and 17-year-olds don't even have the ability to drive with a license. So is that going to make it even more difficult for them to even get to the polls?
Well, young people are able to do a lot of things. At 16-year-old, they are able to work, they are able to pay taxes, and actually about 12 countries in the world already have this type of legislation on the books. There's a few municipalities and localities, even here in the United States, that also have this. Research also shows that the part of the brain where people are able to make these sort of cognitive, wise decisions are fully formed in 16-year-olds.
So mayoral candidate Andrew Yang, he argued for a voting age of 16 back in 2019, right? But the bill actually died in the House. So here we go again. Why do you think that this is a good time to introduce? What do you think is different? Is it because Democrats now control the House?
Well, no, I think this is a bill. I first introduced this legislation in 2018, and we want to make sure that more and more people know about this issue. When I first introduced the bill, there were 0 co-sponsors. Now, when I introduced it again, and I've just done it, there are already 17 co-sponsors. Many types of bills don't pass on the first try, and I'm going to keep trying.
Do you have support?
I do. We have 17 co-sponsors, and we are just introducing it this week.
Okay, so the proposal of this legislation does come in the wake of really, and as you noted, unprecedented voter turnout in 2020. According to research, tops 53% of eligible youth voters voted in this election versus 45% back in 2016. So how do you think this is really going to influence support for this proposed legislation? Is that enough background information to get others on board?
Well, I'm certainly going to keep trying. We are seeing momentum building around the country and even around the world on this issue. Like you mentioned, voter turnout amongst young people skyrocketed in this year's election and also in the 2018 cycle. And so we want to make sure they're leading the charge on so many issues that affect so many of us, including themselves and their future. So we will keep working. We are building momentum as we speak.
Yeah, we've seen the youth really lead the charge on so many issues. I just wonder if some Congress members may actually fear the youth because their voice is so loud and so powerful. But we only have a few seconds left, so before I let you go, I do want to switch gears for just a moment, Congresswoman, and focus on what happened yesterday in the House. Voted to expel Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene from her committees over promoting QAnon conspiracy theories, endorsing violence against Democrats. What does this move mean for holding people accountable moving forward, and the fact that so many Republicans actually voted to allow her to keep her committee posts?
Well, I'll tell you what helped set that bill in motion was our young people who experienced or who knew people who experienced shootings like Parkland. And they heard from a Congress member that that was not real. And so that really scared them. And they believe that someone like that should not be sitting on the Education Committee.
All right.
And we're still waiting for her to apologize.
Yeah, we heard a lot on the floor yesterday, and the apology was not part of that statement that she made on the floor. Hey, thank you, Congresswoman. If enacted, by the way, the voting age would be lowered for federal, state, and local elections as well. I want to point that out. You're welcome back anytime, okay?
Yes, good to see you,
Thank you.
Congresswoman.
Take care.
You